Turn the volume up, let the truth slide in. From the block to the ballot, we talk how we live it. Sports, politics, culture in the same lane. Two voices, one mic, no watered down game. It's the Unk Phew podcast, where wisdom meets the way.
Welcome back. Episode 3, Unk Phew podcast. Thank you for joining us. We've been away for a little while. I'm your host, Uncle C Note, Uncle Chris, Unc Note, whatever you want to call me, however you prefer it. That's my co-host, nephew, Malcolm. What up, Mal?
What's going on with you? Yeah, it's been a while.
Yes, sir.
We'd love to be back, man. We back. Pretty excited. A lot of stuff has happened, so we got a lot of stuff to talk about.
A lot of stuff has happened. We won't take too much of your time with the rigmarole, but I will say that it was nice to have some time away from work and be home for a couple of weeks, even though one of those weeks was a little bit of a work thing, but it wasn't nothing strenuous. Chilling with the family, chilling with the wife, you know what I'm saying? So, but I'm back here in the Pacific Northwest, landed today, and knew that we had to jump on and get a recording in for the people since we've been away for a minute. We actually did try to record while I was home, but in person we just had some technical difficulties. The quality wasn't what we would want to put out there, so we scrapped that one, and here we are.
Yeah, so it's technically episode 4, but man, we'll label it 3. This is 3. Yeah, no, it was good. I liked the in vibe, the in-person vibe, but we just had some audio. We need to probably get some better audio equipment. So, yeah.
I think if we weren't in such a rush to go watch the Super Bowl, or not the Super Bowl, actually, for that recording, we were actually going to watch the NFC Championship game. Yeah. And if we weren't kind of like in a bit of a rush to get the recording done and get over to the other unks' houses and watch the game, we probably would have had a little bit better recording. So, Speaking of which, NFC Championship game was the Rams and the Seahawks. Seahawks won that game to go on to the Super Bowl, and you were the only Seahawks fan in the house that day. What was that all about?
I'm a Seahawks fan by proxy, only because Mike McDonald, he used to be the Ravens defensive coordinator, called plays, I had the number 1 defense. So I just because I knew the caliber of a coach he was, and he had a rock star, he had the number 1 defense in the league. So I was like, there's no way they're losing that, you know?
Right.
So I was just calling it like I see it. I didn't really, I didn't have no ties to either team, to be honest. But I was like, I always try to pick one. So I don't know a lot about the Rams. So that's kind of how it goes for me.
So I have a bit of a serious question for you in regards to the NFC Championship game. And I want an honest answer about this question I'm about to ask you.
Okay.
So on the way over there, we had to, run by the store so we could pick up some drink or whatever it was we were getting, so we don't show up empty-handed. And I got what I got. I think I got like a case of Modelo's, and you got something. And it was a not controversy, but you started getting clowned for it. Well, what was that you had got again? That's my question. What was it you had got? And tell the people, what's going on with that.
I know what you're talking about. So I quit drinking alcohol for probably like 5-6 years now. So I still like the taste of beer. So there's this company that came out with non-alcoholic beer. I think they were the pioneer. Brand new company called Athletic Brewery. So they create a product that still tastes like beer, but there's no alcohol. So I picked it up because I saw it in the convenience store, and I was like, oh, they branched out to the QT, and I was like, okay, cool, let me pick that up. They got on me about it because you bring in something new and they don't know what's that, and I was like, I broke it down what it is, and they started calling it diet beer and shit. That shit was funny.
every time one of the aunties come in the room, be like, anybody else want another beer? Everybody would answer, and then she'd go to you. And you want one of your diet beers? That was hilarious.
Yeah, it was.
Little laugh. You kind of had to be there to witness it go down. But
yeah, it was classic.
it was definitely funny in the moment. If it's not funny right now,
Yeah.
but yeah, bro. So Super Bowl, we got Seahawks, we got Patriots, right? Little bit of a boring game to start. Boring from an offensive standpoint. Defensive standpoint, it was a great game because neither team was really letting the other team get off, right?
Why it was boring?
Why?
Because it was the Bonito Bowl, baby.
Old Bad Bunny.
Man.
You think the players was thinking about? Damn, I can't wait to get this first half over so we can see what old Benito's about to do.
Man. Yo, if you was paying attention to Bad Bunny before, like he went to Medellin, and he killed it in Medellin, and it's like crowd, like stadium packed, like going crazy.
Right.
So if you was paying attention to that, and then he did the Super Bowl,
right,
the Bonito Bowl.
So it admittedly, I'm not saying I'm not a Bad Bunny fan. I definitely was aware of who he was, and I've heard music, right? But it's not something I follow all the time. I could take it or leave it. It wasn't a big deal to me, but what made it such a big deal was all the controversy around him just performing in the first place. And most of it was, those people who feel like they get to choose who's an American and who's not. And right. I guess at that moment they chose that, I guess he's not an American, even though he's from Puerto Rico, which is part of America. But my take is, homeboy did his thing. I couldn't understand a damn word. I'll take that back. I can understand a little bit of Spanish. So every now and then I catch something. But for the most part, I couldn't understand a word he was saying. But he handled his business. It was a great show, in my opinion.
Yeah, man. I loved it, man, because it was, you don't really know I didn't really know what to expect, but, like, I loved the whole set, the sugarcane field.
Yeah.
And then, the fact, I don't know Spanish too well, but I do know a little bit, so I did catch a little bit. And I tried to train myself. I tried to listen to some of his songs, especially that last album,
Yeah.
Just because I didn't want to come in super empty-handed.
Yeah.
But even if you don't, like, the beat is vibey, like, that whole shit was fire.
Well, growing up in Arizona, I mean, you're growing up with Latina, Hispanic people, right?
Right.
So you're gonna always have that vibe around you. The music, the culture is a beautiful culture. They got beautiful music, and even though some of the music has changed over the years in terms of going from your mariachi style music, which is what I heard a lot growing up with my friends, to the reggaeton, all the different genres of Latin music that there are, and of course, a lot of the old school, old head Hispanic dudes love that Carlos Santana. So I heard that a lot growing up in the neighborhood.
Carlos.
So, I mean, the show was phenomenal.
It was.
But
it was. Go ahead.
I was going to say those other people that don't think that he should have been performing because, again, who's American and who's not. They had an alternative halftime show.
Yeah.
Did you hear about that?
Yeah, but how'd it go? I don't know how it went.
So I never actually went and watched it after the fact, even though I planned to. But after I heard the reviews and saw how much viewership they got compared to what Bad Bunny's halftime show got, I felt like it wasn't even worth going to check it out. So I heard the music wasn't too good. I mean, they brought in some old, outdated artists. Supposed to be, they aired it on a Christian broadcast station, and then YouTube, I guess. YouTube apparently wasn't really working well. I believe they had somewhere around 5 million views. Could be up to 70 million if somebody wants to dispute me on that. Compared to 142 million Crazy. For Bad Bunny. I mean, bro, come on. No comparison.
Blew it out the water. They blew it out the water.
Comparison.
And I heard they had technical difficulties. I just felt sorry for them. They couldn't, embrace, all of the Americans, because his message was like, you say so the United States really says America. A lot of people refer to America as the United States, but really the Americas is all of the Caribbean, all of the North and South America. And he was absolutely right.
And Central, to be honest.
And Central America, sorry. Yes.
Yeah.
Not to leave you out. But yes.
Yeah.
So I love the message. I love the song about his auntie. Oh, he's got so many girlfriends. I had to go, translate that back, and it just set like such feel good moments across all of the Americas that like people are still like in like reminiscing about that performance. So Bad Bunny did his thing, man.
Yeah, he did. And what I liked best about the end of his performance was he made sure to say, God bless America, right? And then God bless all the other countries that encompass America, right? And that's what he was doing. It was an inclusivity of what America really is, not just U.S. citizens, but what America is, right? From the top all the way to the bottom. So it was a good show. If you chose not to watch it, you missed out. I know that some had both of them on at the same time, including Trump. They had Bad Bunny on and the alternative one at the same time. Probably because they didn't want to miss out on the party too, but then they used that to criticize him later. You know what I mean? Like, we watched it and it was horrible kind of deal. But they really didn't want to miss out on the same party the rest of America was having, right? So
and it seemed like Trump's response was just like, oh, it's terrible, but like it's not. He killed it. Like, you can't be terrible.
Trump knows what's up.
Yeah, you can't be terrible and break records, right? Like, this doesn't work. And
it's not like Trump's opinion really sets the tone for culture in this nation, right? Yeah, it really doesn't. I know for a while it seemed like it did because we were just getting beat down by his opinion so much and the way people would respond to it. But bro, Trump grew up in New York. Right? He's from that area. He's been around Puerto Ricans his entire life. Maybe he didn't always live in the same neighborhoods, but he's grew up with these people. So he knows what it is. He likes the music too. His family likes the music, but it's not the popular thing to say for your base.
It's pandering to his base, basically.
Yeah. And unfortunately, not all of his base, but a big majority of his base, they're a little on the racist side. So anything that ain't, that doesn't look like them, for lack of better words, they're not rocking with it, right? So, but that's too bad for them because they missed out on a great performance in a great cultural moment for all of the Americas to be included. And the last thing I'll say on this is, and then I'll take your take. The NFL is attempting to be a global league. Reason why we've been playing games over in Europe and Mexico and Brazil, and you know what I mean? They want to be, they're bringing in a global audience, and a large part of this globe, you know what I mean, first of all, it's diversity at its finest, right? And NFL doesn't always get everything right. But them having Jay-Z and Rock Nation run that Super Bowl halftime show and then try to model what the NFL is doing is a great thing because it's bringing everyone in, right? And you don't have to know who the artist is or follow their music or even 100% like their music. But it's entertaining to see that there is inclusivity from the NFL despite what some of the fans who watch the league, if they're still fans of them, would say about it. That's what I got on that.
I agree, and honestly, I think just a little note on that. I think Beyonce's in a performance kind of set the tone. I remember. I think it was 2018, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe so.
Because I just moved back from the UK, so it was nuts. I was like, oh, she's going in just the pure preparation. If you ever been to a Beyonce concert, she's gonna outperform. You're
never been to a show, but I've seen them on TV. And she does her thing.
She does her thing. So like I think that set the tone for all these other artists coming through. And yeah, man, I enjoyed the show. I loved the show. I think it got the praise it deserved, and I really loved his message. So I don't think you can do. Even when he brought Lady Gaga on, I saw some of the comments was like, "What Lady Gaga got to do with this?" But he was saying, is this what you wanted? Is this what you wanted?" And then the camera pan over to Lady Gaga. So he was also punching back at some of those critics even in that performance. So the Benito Bowl, go ahead.
Kudos to him, and definitely kudos to her for doing it, right?
Yeah.
Allowing herself to be used as an example of, look, it's not always going to be this way just because that's what y'all want and that's what y'all are used to. So kudos to her for allowing herself to be used that way.
Exactly.
Oh, one last thing on it. For the old school, old heads that some of the younger generation don't know who he was, but Ricky Martin's appearance at the end. You know who Ricky Martin is?
Yeah, of course I know who Ricky Martin is.
I mean, you should. You old enough, you should. But there are some people who like my daughter. She was like, I said, "Oh, Ricky Martin." And she was like, "Who's that?"
She's too young. She's too young.
She's too young. She's too young. And yeah, living la vida loca. So
living la vida loca. Yeah.
So once I threw that out there, she's like, "Oh, don't see that." Yeah. So it was cool to see him bring Ricky Martin out with him too. For a little bit of a piece of that.
Yeah. It was a great performance, man. Like I loved it. And then he went back and did Medellin again. So
yep. There you go.
It just captured. He's like, I'm gonna do it twice. Just one before the Super Bowl, one after the Super Bowl. I think one of my buddies, I saw him out in the Medellin, the second one. So
also he went to the second one.
Yeah,
that's what's up. All right. Well, I mean, we kind of mentioned his name a couple times in here, dealing with the Bad Bunny deal, but it's not so much about Trump per se, because we could talk about all the stuff that Trump does all the time, right? And we will get to a little bit of that later, but his DOJ, not even the DOJ, his Department of Homeland Security and the Division in Department of Homeland Security, ICE, they basically got ran out of Minnesota, bro.
Yeah, the Minnesotans, they not playing. They was like, oh, we going to keep the pressure up because, like, I can commend them. Hats off to them.
Yes, sir. I mean, tragically, two American citizens.
I think more now, like 4. I think it's up to 4.
But I'm talking about for that specific city. I know there are definitely more. But for that specific city, it took 2 American citizens to lose their lives for the awareness to really waking up, because I can't remember the young brother's name in Los Angeles that was shot and killed by an off-duty ICE agent. I can't remember that right off the top of my head. If you want to find it and bring it to me, that would be good. And I know there's one down that I heard about yesterday down in South Padre, Texas, that also lost his life. That one never got reported. It happened a couple months back. But it took these 2 Americans, and not to make this a total racial thing, but it took 2 white Americans to lose their lives for people to say, whoa, wait, what's happening here, right? Especially the second one. The first one, because she was behind the wheel and she was driving a vehicle trying to leave, they utilized that situation to say she was trying to ram people, right? Trying to run over ICE agents, which she wasn't. But the second one, right? There's no justification in either one. But the second one, 100% execution. 100% execution. No matter how you want to look at it, no matter how you want to spin it, that's exactly what happened. And the people of Minnesota, they didn't give up. They didn't lay down for that. It actually energized them. And I was there the week after Preddy lost his life. I had to go to Minnesota for some training and stuff, and yeah, it's a different scene out there, especially in sub-zero temperatures. That these people were out there in the streets every single day, protesting ICE, watching their actions, and making it known that they're not going to back down. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I would say this, rest in peace for everyone who's lost their lives at the hands of
Absolutely.
ICE. Definitely wrong. Even if you're, not a citizen, there's a
Right.
lot of horrific things that's going on at the hands of this government that we all should be deeply concerned about, because if they could do it to them, they could do it to anybody, and they don't care. And you could tell this is coming from the top. So,
Oh yeah, 100%.
I'm happy that for the people that's fighting back around the nation. What I would say is, I watched the video on just a reporter going around, independent reporter going around in Minnesota, and this guy he was interviewing was like really pissed off. Basically, he's like, I got work tomorrow, and I'm only out here because they killing people in our communities, terrorizing people, and it's below sub-zero degrees. You think we want to just be out here for fun? He was just telling it straight. So
Yeah.
This is an example where people can outnumber everything, but it's very concerning because only because they're masked, they're not trained, like properly. So now I got more faith in the police than I do an ICE agent. And I don't know about like if somebody was masked coming to me, rolling up on me like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because I might mistake you for somebody else, bruh. And
Yeah.
whatever happens, happens. You know what I mean?
Well, our AG of in Arizona, Chris Mays. I mean, she stated it plainly that in Arizona, you know what I mean. If you got a masked individual that's going to jump out of a car and grab you, they're not identifying themselves. I mean,
Right.
Even if they're saying we are ICE, but you ain't showing no credentials or anything like that. In Arizona, unfortunately, whether you like it or not, you have a right to protect yourself. It's a version of the stand your ground law.
Exactly.
But if somebody jumps out and is aggressive with you and they have their face covered, you don't know who that is, because normal police officers are not running around doing all that, right? So you don't know who that is. And we know that people can pretend to be officers of the law, just like those lawmakers in Minnesota got shot. Guy had a mask on that looked very, very real, like a ball head mask. He looked like at nighttime, it looks like a real person, and he had a police uniform on. He's knocking on the door. They look to the people. They see it's an officer, so they're trusting. They open the door, and he opens fire and kills them. So we know that it happens. We can't say it doesn't happen. So, with that being said, yeah, you're going to be in some parts of the country where you're going to do that, and you're going to do it to the wrong person. And you're going to mess around and lose your life, right? Not that I want to see anybody lose their lives behind these actions, but not everybody's going to lay down and take it. And I'm not saying the people of Minnesota didn't, because they definitely stood up and showed us what protecting their rights and their freedoms look like, and how the rest of us should protect our rights and freedoms, because we're not in an authoritarian country. As much as some in that administration would love to take us in that direction, we are not an authoritarian country. We don't have to lay down like that. We have constitutional rights in this country. Even if it wasn't meant for all of us when it was written, we all still have those rights, and we need to continue to exercise them. All right, welcome back. Yeah, we had a little bit of technical difficulties there. Kind of starting out with this thing. We have good quality cameras, but I made an error in judgment, not making sure that mine was completely powered up, charged up good enough. And even though I am plugged in and should have power running to it, my camera died on me. And then it flipped to my laptop camera, which looked very, very weird. And
basically you made a rookie mistake.
very, very huge rookie mistake. Very huge rookie mistake. But what I will say though is we figured it out and fixed it, right? So so we good. But I do, if you will allow me, nephew, I do want to finish my point of what I was talking about, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
And we're talking about, I was talking about how, we are not an authoritarian country, right? And although there are some that are basically on the right that are trying to take us down that road to an authoritarian country, and I'm not going to accuse everyone of that, because I think there are people who didn't either realize, didn't know, didn't care to know, or were just too blatantly ignorant to what was going to happen when all the warning signs were there, right? But they don't want to be an authoritarian country too, so I'm going to allow them some grace on that. But I just want to finish by saying, hey, I commend what the people of Minneapolis did, right? As a whole. I mean, they stood their ground. This current administration was offering to pull ICE out of their city if they gave up their voter rolls, which Minnesota said, hell no, we ain't doing that. So I'm proud of those people that, stood their ground in sub-zero temperatures. I witnessed it. And they did what they needed to do to make sure that they protected their community and kept their neighbors safe. And that's what we should all be aspiring to do, right? When we're faced with the threat that we're faced with, right? Now, with that being said, right now, Department of Homeland Security is essentially defunded because, we're in a partial government shutdown at the moment. And due to the fact that the Democrats have said no, they are not going to fund DHS until some of the demands are met in regards to ICE specifically, right? No new detention centers, I believe, is one. No, obviously racial profiling, but I don't know how you do that because this is all about racial profiling, right?
Yeah.
And then
they said no masks.
Yeah. Well, that's the big one. But before that one, also, I believe it's also not just disregarding, the way our warrant system works in this country, where you have to have a warrant signed by a judge to enter people's homes by them saying, well, we could just enter if we want to. Nah, that's bullshit. So I'm glad that they stood up. The Democrats are standing up right now. And the big one, like you said, is they got to take their mask off. I mean, if you want to do this job and you want to do it honestly, take your mask off. What are you afraid of? Unless you're afraid of who we might see is actually doing this job.
Exactly. I think they are, and I agree with you.
So, it's. I hope that they stand firm this time around, and don't give in and get what the people want. We understand that there's an immigration issue in this country, right? But it's not the one. It's not the immigration issue that they spell out for us. It's not the one that they go on their cable news talking shows. They're not even news, cable information talking shows or affirmation talking shows, because that's all it is, and try to spew this hatred about what immigration really is, while they're ruining what immigration looks like in this country and causing American people and businesses to suffer the brunt of their decisions. Just do it right. People do have a right to seek asylum in this country, whether we like it or not. It's written into our Constitution. And we shouldn't be able to be the ones to pick and choose what we like and don't like in our Constitution. If we're going to stand by, 2A and all of that kind of stuff in our Constitution, freedom of speech, which that's under assault too. But if we're going to stand by the Constitution, let's stand by the whole document, right? It's just one of those things that gets under my skin, and we need time to be able to put things back together the way they're supposed to be. And I think right now the Democrats are doing that.
Yeah, I think they are, but to be honest, I hope they better stand firm because last time they buckled. So too much more of that. Like these Democrats, they in trouble, man. Because I think really the people are pissed off. Like
Yeah.
en masse, the people are pissed off. You have a president and and his cabinet that basically doesn't follow the law. They do the bidding for the rich. They made everyone else vote for them who voted for him, but they didn't do anything for them. So they're not really getting nothing. And now they understand that, most of these people are in the Epstein files. Right? These Epstein files is like crazy. So they're having to deal with allegedly the president being a pedophile. So you have to grapple with that. So yeah, it's crazy. I just think like the Democrats better not. They better not back down because ICE is running amok in the streets, which is what do you want to do? Like you want to keep killing people in the streets? You want to keep like throwing up detention centers in your city? Like this is crazy.
Right. Absolutely. And when it comes to what the Democrats do and don't do, I think they're learning. I think they've been learning a valuable lesson from the way they have operated in years past, right? We're going to be the ones with decorum. We're going to be the ones that, do things with our chin up and try to follow the law, right? And I'm not going to sit here and try to say Democrats are perfect on any stretch of the imagination, but they play a different game. And I've said this before, they play a different game than what the Republicans are playing normally, right? But now they're hitting back. They're hitting back in a good way because Republicans, they're just going to do what they want to do. They don't give a shit. They don't give a damn who's in the way. They're just going to do it, right?
Yeah.
And the Democrats are finally finding a backbone to stand up. And they're not necessarily just doing what they want to do, but just like with the gerrymandering, they're taking it to the people. Gavin Newsom over in California, he had his people vote on it, whether we're going to redraw these districts. The governor, I can't think of her name right now, Sandberger, I think, in Virginia, she just signed it into law that's going to go to a vote for them to redraw their districts. And that's how you're supposed to do it. So you don't subvert the will of the people. You don't subvert the will of the people and their vote. Take it to a vote, take it to the people, and let the people decide. And that's why the courts will uphold it as they did in California too. So I do want to commend them for finally finding a backbone and standing up. But there's more work to be done, right? Yeah. If they want to right the ship of what's been going on in this country, there's a whole lot more work that needs to be done.
Yeah, I just hope they keep it because I don't think we could take too many more letdowns before the people get too overly upset because what this authoritarian wannabe king president is doing is just bizarre. It's just bizarre, and I called it when he announced his presidency. Nothing in that speech was at all normal.
No.
But people still voted for it. So,
70 million to be exact. And it wasn't that it wasn't normal. It was downright dirty and vengeful, right?
Yeah.
His initial campaign speech and then his inauguration speech was all about revenge because he feels like the Justice Department and the state departments were weaponized against him. But hey, homie, if you don't commit crimes, they won't come for you. And that's what I enjoyed seeing at that time is that, yeah, truly nobody is above the law. And we need to hold everybody to that same account. I don't care who it is, Republican or Democrat. And I will say this about Democrats. When in the whole Me Too movement, when names started dropping and there were some couple prominent senators, I think, I can't think of his name right now, but there was one, I believe he's from New Jersey. When his name got dropped in the Me Too, Democrats are like, you got to go, homie. Whether there was actually real proof or not that he did it or not, but they told him he had to leave. You know what I mean? I think it was a little premature because I think we found out later that it wasn't what it was made out to be. But at the same time, they don't just stay quiet. They don't just stay silent and coddle theirs, right? Such as what we see, like you brought up with the Epstein files, okay? I mean, look at what's happening right now. We know that there's very, very, very powerful individuals whose names are in that file, for actually doing wrong. There are people's names in that file that probably haven't done a thing, right? They're just associated in some kind of way and they wound up in that file. But we know that there are people in that file have done wrong. And what are we doing about it? Not a goddamn thing. But look at what the UK's doing. Look at what they're doing over there, right? It may not be directly to the abuse of some of these young women yet, and I use that strongly, yet, because they're still investigating on what former Prince Andrew did back at that time. But they're still holding him accountable, for corrupt crimes that he committed over there in relation to Jeffrey Epstein. And we ain't doing none of that. We're not holding our people accountable. And if law and order, if nobody's above the law is a real thing, like this administration tries to say it is, which we know is bullshit, then they would start holding their people accountable, especially the ones that are right there in their administration.
I agree with you. And on the Epstein files, it's kind of crazy because, like, there was deliberate, like, they basically blacked out all the names of people sending emails to Jeffrey Epstein. So we don't really know a lot of the people involved. And they deliberately also left the victims' names unredacted.
Unredacted.
They redacted.
It was a punishment.
Yeah. So it's a cover up, but I don't think they could really outrun this because who's in power. And the reason no one's coming under, the reason no one's getting their justice is because of who's in power at the moment. So
yep.
I don't know. I'm hella frustrated over these goddamn files, bro. But
yeah, me too. Well, maybe when this whole thing turns over in 2 and 4 years, a lot of people will be held accountable, right?
Maybe. Who knows? Like,
that's the most that we can hope for, is that the Democrats don't drag their feet, don't scrape their knuckles against the ground like they did last time, Merrick Garland, and wait to the very last minute to actually hold people accountable for the shit that they do. So we can hope that that's what happens.
I don't know. I feel like the old school Democrats won't do it, to be honest with you. I don't feel like they'll do it. I feel like they'll buckle because of where they get their money from. If you just follow the money and you follow the Epstein files, are coming from really the same place. So that's like, we have to get involved on a major scale. And I'm talking to the citizens and our involvement. You can't just like, oh, I'm not going to vote, or I'm not going to get involved, I'm not going to say nothing. No, you got to say something. You have to say something. Because to me, suddenly, eat the rich don't seem so far-fetched. It don't seem so crazy. To me, at first, that seemed crazy. Like, that's a crazy idea. But we see through these files, the rich been eating kids, allegedly. In the files, right?
But it's strongly alleged in the files. So,
yes.
I mean, and we might even have to discard that word, allegedly, right? Because I'm
doing it for
I understand why we're doing it, but at the same time, why is that act, that vile, evil act, even showing up in those files, right? Like, what is that about? Like, what? Like, what? What the hell are we talking about here, right? So, but you know what? To the conspiracy theorists that were saying these things, even though they were thinking and saying that and blaming it was going to be the left that was doing these things, lo and behold, that's not who's showing up in these files as the ones that were doing these things. So the conspiracy theorists very, very well may have been right that it was happening. It's just who was actually doing it. And that's a big reason why these files why they're fighting so hard for you, even though they're releasing stuff. They're not releasing everything. We already know that. And they're fighting so hard for you and I to be able to see what really happened and who was involved. Whole blacked out pages of redactions. Come on, man. Like, we're not stupid.
Yeah, but that goes to the point. Like, we really don't know who else is really in these files. So I feel like they're protecting the powerful people, and they might be in the financial industry. Because if you think about it, Epstein was connected to different agencies, spy agencies, intelligence agencies. So you're also moving money. So has to be people in the financial industry. Also, yeah, I don't know. I just think it's just we need more. We're getting what, half of the files, if that.
Yeah,
Like,
if that.
This is total bullshit.
It's a large web. They try to act like they released everything. We know they haven't. But yeah, his connections, and I'm talking about Jeffrey Epstein, who I'm starting to wonder if he's actually even really dead. His connections and his web that he had of connections. I mean, it encompassed everybody. It really did. It encompassed Democrats, Republicans, independents. It encompassed people from the entertainment world, actors, musicians. It encompassed everybody. I mean, globally, other countries, right? The Middle East, the UK. It encompassed a whole lot, and that was always his get out of jail free. Because I got some on all y'all. And that's really what Jeffrey Epstein was doing, is he was making sure that he protected himself by making sure he had dirt on everybody, anywhere he could around the world. And, if he is gone, and he did truly die in that jail cell, which I'm seriously beginning to doubt, well, they had reason to try to take him out because there's just way too many powerful people around the world that are associated with this, right? And again, at the end of the day, it's all about the victims. They deserve the justice. We can talk about Jeffrey Epstein and all his connections. But at the end of the day, it comes back to they were doing things that were so demonic and so satanic and so just absolutely 100% criminally wrong at the expense of children and young women. And
boys. Nobody's still wanting to look these people in the face and say, I got you, and do something about it, right? Nobody. That's true. Yeah.
And they are the ones that deserve to have that justice. They're the ones that deserve to have that justice, man.
They do deserve to have that justice. To the conspiracy theories, they're right. They were right, 100% about this secret government running things, pulling strings. Like, yeah, it's it. And to my point, what I missed was like the money laundering. So I think that's what they're trying to also cover up largely is the money laundering. It's a worldwide thing. It's, people from different countries putting money in. I think that is what implicated Trump. There's a lot of things that like point to that's in those files that are already released. That's why they started. Mm-hmm. That's why when they released them, they had to start pulling them back. But why are you pulling them back?
Exactly.
Again, I said it in that last one. Anything less than a full release of the files, unredacted, you look guilty.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
you looking kind of sus, bro.
And who knows? Who knows with any administration that's in there whether we would actually ever get everything, right?
That's true.
But we know for a fact we ain't getting it now. So
yeah, and to be honest, anybody in those files, they need to go. They don't need to be in no leadership. But people really need to rise up and take back power, man. Like,
well, and you mentioned,
and you could do it. You could do it democratically. You don't have to take up arms, right?
Right.
You could do it democratically. Rise up. You already see him trying to steal the election because you got something to hide, bro. You got something to
I mean,
hide, and you're a criminal, and you've been hanging with criminals all your life. So you think you Mr. Tough Guy? It's crazy, man.
yeah. Well, I mean, and hopefully the right people make the right moves and do something democratically. But I mean, this country is probably facing a revolution, right? And I mean, like we talked about earlier with the whole Minnesota thing and American citizens being gunned down in the streets by our own government. A revolution is needed, whether that be politically, democratically, or whether you got to get in the streets and get your hands dirty. A change has to happen regardless, right? I'm not advocating for violence or anybody doing that, but enough is enough, and I think Americans are fed up with what's been going on, and it's time for us to clean house, right? And right this ship. It's the only way it's going to happen. It's the only way it's going to happen is people have to be held accountable. And I don't care what party you come from. If you did something and you're in them files, or you did something that harmed someone, committed a crime, that you and I know that we definitely would be thrown up under the jail and the key tossed away and melted down. We'll never see the light of day. These powerful people need to be held to the same account. But, money speaks louder than justice, right?
That's right. That's right. I don't want to go spinning off this topic, but like I just think as people we should keep the pressure on because we already can tell that we're not getting the full information. We should get full unredacted, nothing untampered papers because number one, the MAGA side and Trump he ran on that. So
yeah,
it's time to ante up. You know what I mean?
My thing is this: if you really want to just break it down, my thing is this: you already released the files with the unredacted names of the victims. So, you didn't care about their safety and their privacy when you did that. That's already out there. Whether they went back and tried to clean it up or not, it's already out there. People seen it. People have downloaded it. People have copies of it. It's already out there. So now let's just release everything unredacted. I mean, their names are already out there, right?
Yeah.
They're already targets of people who are upset that they're even coming forward. So yeah, I'm with you. Let's release it all. Just release everything, and let the chips fall where they may. You already released their names, so protecting them is not an issue anymore because you already showed that you didn't care to protect them. So let's stop protecting the rich and the powerful and just release it all. Yeah. And let's get it over with. Let's have a reckoning in this country where we really start holding people accountable, right? Not just the small people, not just the lower class individuals.
Yeah, not just the vulnerable people. Yeah,
exactly.
I agree with you, but I would say that would probably be a reckoning worldwide because of this network that. And yeah, this blackmail network, that honeypot operation.
Yeah.
And there was something in the files I was looking at the other day where Trump purchased a property and it was worth something. It was right before the 2008 crash, and he sold it. He sold it for more than he purchased it during the crash.
Yeah.
Like that to me looks like money laundering.
Yeah.
So there's and this was, I think connected to a Russian or something like that. So yeah. I feel like there would be a worldwide implications here. So, yeah, the reckoning would be widespread, not just here in the United States.
Yeah, that story you're talking about, Rachel Maddow on MSNBC talked about that during the first Trump campaign back in 2016. She talked about that story. I mean, there were so much stuff was coming out of the woodworks of things like that were happening. But yeah, and that was the whole thing. That story came out due to the fact of Russia interfering when it was widely known that they were interfering in our election to get Donald Trump elected, right? So So yeah, it's a story that not a lot of people heard about. It's one that's been around for a while, but it's now starting to resurface again. But it shows how all this stuff comes full circle, right? It all comes full circle. It circles back, to its origins, because that's how corruption works, right? They keep that circle of corruption going, enrich their friends, move money, launder money, whatever you want to call it, and keep us, arguing over politics, for one, arguing over politics, and two, not half the time not even understanding what's really going on. We just click on the favorite video or whatever's in our algorithm that keeps us blinded. You know what I mean? Again, seeking affirmation on how we feel as opposed to information, and we continue to go at each other while they continue to enrich themselves. So it's just kind of the way of the world. And, we're beating up on Trump, which he deserves a whole lot of ass whooping, but they're all complicit in this. All the wealthy billionaires, in this country are pretty much complicit in it. Even if you're not involved in it, if you have a means and a way to stop it and you do nothing, you're complicit. So
Yeah, and
that's my take on that.
And like I feel like our government has been compromised. Compromised in a sense of you have another government, or number one, Trump might be blackmailed, right? By Israel.
Could be.
And why are you doing the bidding? I thought you were your own man. It doesn't seem like you're your own man, my guy. It seems like you taking orders and you carrying out those orders. Seems like they got something on you.
Yeah.
So
that's what it appears.
So I think the people see that, and the people, they don't like that. Like, why are we sending billions over there? Right? Why are we sending billions of dollars over there? We can't even get healthcare. You let the healthcare spike. You let the ACA premium spike. For what? For it just doesn't. Nothing makes sense, and there should never be another government be able to either blackmail or influence in this country. So that happened. That happens because of Citizens United. So Citizens United, we need to overturn. We need to do that for the people. It doesn't matter what side you're on. I don't really care about side or anything like that. Like, we need to put the power back in the hands of the people. Corporations are not people. They can't live and breathe like us. They not people. So,
but that's what Citizens United said that they are.
I know. That's why we need to return. That's why we need to elect people that's willing to actually
to overturn it.
Overturn
Get rid
that.
of it. Yeah. No, that's been a thing for quite some time, especially on the left, to want to get rid of that. But let's just be honest. There are some on the left that also have benefited from Citizens United, right?
That's why I say that old Democrats, man, y'all need to get out of here, bro.
Well, then, it's up to your generation, bro. It's up to your generation. The 30-year-olds, the early 40-year-olds to jump
your
in there
generation
and do. Well, I mean, I'm just saying, you guys are 55 years old. Well, 54. Damn. Anyway, but 54 years old. I know we're still kind of a younger generation of Democrats, but you guys look at Mondami. You guys have a louder voice right now. You guys need to utilize that.
No, I 100% agree. And that's kind of why we doing this platform. Like,
right.
I didn't think, I'm going to be, a podcast person, but times have changed. I want to get the word out. We need to understand, like, this political things. Your whole life is political, because what does governments do, really? They take in money, they allocate these resources. So if you don't put people, if you neglect your rights, you can see they trying to take it away. So it must be really important. So if you're not involved at any level, then you're just abdicating. Whatever happens to you happens to you. Don't complain, please. Don't complain at all. because you're not getting involved. So you're right. We do need people that's willing to step up and run. We need people that's willing to step up and run and not take money from these big PACs. We need everyone to get involved and keep pushing like injustices on social media. We really can't like sit and think like, oh, this 4 years, because this has just been 1 year, my G. 1 year.
Yeah.
I remember the last time. I remember the last time, and he literally got voted out because people were tired.
Yeah.
Every day something new, something crazy. So like now they got a second crack at it because people got fatigued or they got in their feelings. But like you got to get out your feelings and get to it, and that's just how it is. Like, I mean, yeah, that's just really how it is. You got to stay involved. You got to stay involved.
Yeah, and like you said, your whole life is political, and people don't think of it from that lens, right? If you view it from that lens, and you think about it like that, I mean, think about it. All the way down to how much you pay for water to come into your house. That's a political decision, right?
Exactly.
Rate hikes and all that stuff in your individual states, all of that stuff goes through some form of political process, right? Your Social Security is political, right? Minimum wage. Who sets that? Governments set that. So if people start thinking and really take a hard, long look at their lives, taxes, all of that, and everything that they do in their every single day life is affected by some form of politics, right? And then you need to ask yourself, well, am I good with that? Or do I need to change that? Or do I need to affect change and get out there and canvass and door knock and do all the things that I need to do to get the people that are going to represent me elected to make some of these changes? Because we keep on pushing the same old people back in, right? And they give us that great song and dance, and then nothing changes.
Nothing changes.
So let's give it a shot, and I'm challenging our viewers and anybody that finds us and has an ear to listen to us or watch us on this podcast. I'm challenging you to make some changes for yourself, for your community, for your children. You know what I mean? For your elderly parents. I mean, somebody's got to start somewhere. And really, it's if you have the bandwidth to listen to us, then you have the wherewithal to go make change.
I agree with you, and I stand by that. So like, let's show up and show out every single time. Every single opportunity you get is a chance to put somebody in that is doing the good work. Now, if we just show up to the polls, then whoever we got to vote for is who we got to vote for. I personally don't like. I don't like the fact that we keep voting in grandpas. Like, come on now. Well, we need fresh ideas, and I get it. They got the whatever. But it's time that we all step up. It's time that because we can even put candidates out. We can and we have to support them. We got to knock on doors. We got to talk to our people. We got to understand, like, hey, this is real. This is real. Before it ever gets real, we need to treat it like it's real, because it is real.
Yeah. Well, this is where, when I say your generation, right, this is where you guys can affect the most change, right? Because, and I'm not knocking your generation, but a lot of people, and probably not even your generation. Let me go even younger than that. My younger children's generation, right? They don't even pay attention to what's happening to them. They don't know. They don't pay attention. Half the time, if they do vote, they're probably voting the way I vote, right? Half the time, they're not seeking out the information for themselves. And just to be clear, my kids do vote. But they come to me for information. It's time for that generation you 20-something-year-olds, to start seeking that information for yourselves. Start doing your research. Start studying these candidates. Start seeing what they're talking about, right? It's not that hard to go to Ballotopia or wherever to find out who's going to be running for office and when they got their papers in to be able to run, so you can start looking into their backgrounds and seeing who they are and what they do and what they stand for. It's not that difficult to do. But sometimes we don't do that because we go about our daily lives with work and rent and food and then, whatever social media that we like to be on to get the laughs of the day. And then by the time you look up, oh shit, my ballot's in the mail, or oh shit, it's voting day and I got to go to the polls. But you don't know nothing about nobody. So let me go see who my daddy's voting for. Let me go see who mom's is voting for, and I'm going to ride with them. Now, I will say this. I make very conscious decisions having been in that arena, on the union side of things and interviewing candidates that were seeking endorsement from the union that I was a vice president of. So I have a little bit firmer understanding, a firmer grip of how these candidates operate. So when I do tell my kids, vote this way, it's coming from a place of, this is who at this moment in time is showing the most promise to affect the most change. And I've been wrong and I've been right. But I'm not just saying keep the same old grandpa in there that has no new ideas, that's there to, collect their free health care, to build on that pension that they're going to have for life, to get their plane tickets paid for to go back and forth to their districts. I'm not saying just, vote for that guy, but what we should be doing, the way this country was set up, we should be sending people to Congress to go serve on our behalf. And you should only be there, maybe maximum 2 terms. You know what I mean? 8, 12 years, whatever that looks like, and get on out of there. You know what I mean? If you want to go from the House to the Senate and do a couple terms there, but get on out of there, but don't stay till you're 90 and you have no touch with the American people, especially the younger generation, who is continuing and having the burden of pushing this country forward. But it's also upon that younger generation to do their due diligence, to go out, find out who these candidates are, see what it is that's in their best interest, and then go push for them to get them in the door. Because otherwise, we're going to keep on getting the same old people. And some of the same old people are actually really good candidates that still have fresh and new ideas that can move the needle, but not all of them. And that's on both sides of the aisle. Right. And, when you abdicate your responsibility as a U.S. Senator or House of Representative member, and you say, I'm not doing anything while the president runs roughshod, well, you definitely don't belong in Congress anymore. You definitely need to go. You need to get your ass out of there. And we need to be the ones to figure out who these people are and put them out and get the people in there that are going to be there to do the job. And then, you know what? In 2 years, 4 years, whatever it is, if they ain't doing the job, get their asses out of there too.
Yeah, we need to be relentless with information. And I think the importance of media and in this space is very important, because I don't think the younger generation, like my cousins and all that, they're not going to go sit down and, you're right, and go map this out. But they will go to Instagram and figure out what other people are saying. So I think we understand that, and we gotta you gotta look at authentic voices, because there are people, there are countries that have fake accounts everywhere, sowing the discourse. No, put your face on camera, make it authentic, and let's go with that. And I feel like there's a lot of people that's doing that, especially in my generation, that they're doing that. So well, one of the things that they have to do too is especially with, like you say, these fake accounts from Russia and other places, it was all over the world. It was all over the world.
It's
wild.
But we also have AI too. So you have AI videos of people who get on, they post online saying things that they never even said. It's easier to use their image and use AI tools to make these people sound. But what you need to do is you need to see that and not just stop right there. You need to be like, shit, let me go over here to Google and let's see if they really said this. Let me start going down a rabbit hole and punching this in.
Right.
And just like a puzzle, start piecing it together. Did they really say this? Or was this fake? Because I've done that several times. See something like, damn, why would they say something like that? No, let me go check it out. Then you go check it out. You can't find it nowhere. Well, where did that come from?
Man, I got caught up.
You know what I mean?
I got caught up a couple of times, and I'll be like, you know what? I'm not gonna share. I'm gonna hold off on the sharing.
Yeah.
Because a couple of homies hit me up and was like, man, that's fake. And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh shit, I got caught up. So you're right. You gotta do your due diligence, especially with this
Have to
AI.
do it.
You gotta do it, man.
Yeah.
I do have a little hope not in the system per se, but just in the people.
Yeah.
I have hope in the people. I feel like, you know, it's come to a drastic point, but I think, you know, I think the understanding is critical, but I hope we can maintain it, because you have to do it long enough. It's not going to be an overnight operation, but you have to do it long enough, and you have to do you have to have a sustained resistance long enough to actually see the change. And, you know, like,
Yeah.
it can happen overnight in some scenarios.
Yeah.
But case in point, shoot, I'm forgetting the country. But I'll come back to that.
Yeah. Well, let me build on something you were saying as far as you having a little hope. I have a lot of hope, right? I've been on this earth long enough to see that when people want to make change, they will make change. You know, social media is just a new distraction to folks, but there's been distractions throughout history, right? But when people get fed up and they get tired of it, they're going to make change. So so I have great hope that, you know, the American people will get tired of what's happening to them in their lives, especially when they look at, you know, what the people tell us we should believe. But the government lies to us and say, believe your lying eyes. But when I go to the store and I see the sticker shock and I see what it costs to put a gallon of gas in the car, nah, you know what I mean? You can tell me this all day, but I'm feeling real world pain over here. And there's enough of us that see that I think that they will stand up and do what's necessary to affect change.
Yeah. Man, I got a little less hope than you, but shit. I hope. I know that people are feeling the pain, and it's not to do with parties, man. It's not to do nothing with parties. We all feeling this pain, so we all in this shit together for real. So we really got to be able to stand up and understand evil when we see evil, and we got to do a better job vetting. We have to do a better job vetting. So we can't take our eye off the ball. We can't get distracted by sports, social media, this and that. It doesn't affect me. No, yes, the hell it do.
Yeah, it does.
It does affect you. And it's affecting me, you. It's affecting innocent lives. It's affecting... So people don't understand why Mexico, why the migration pattern, right? You didn't understand that. Mexico in the 90s had an awesome economy. And then the North Atlantic
trade agreement.
North
American Trade Agreement.
Yeah, my bad. North American Trade Agreement, NAFTA, right? That messed up their country. So if that happened to America and then Mexico was popping, you better believe a lot of people were gonna head over there. You had doctors who was like, dang, this wrecked me. Like, I can't provide for my family. So you have to understand. You got to do your history too. You can't just be. You can no longer. It's no longer acceptable for you to be ignorant to the facts and just the history of things. So you have to be. You have to cultivate your critical thinking skills. I feel like that's lacking in this country. So this and that, identity politics. Fuck all that. Get your education up. Get your education up. Get your education up. Because it matters.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100% matters. So nephew, we're gonna leave it right there because I think you ended on a good note, and I think that was a great message, especially, telling the people, get yourself educated. Nobody's saying you got to go enroll and take out a major student loan to get in college, but you can do your research and you can get informed and you can find out what's really happening and find out the origins of it and get yourself prepared to be able to help, the revolution and take this country back the way it's supposed to be. So great conversation, man. Good seeing you again, even though I just saw you. But anytime we can get on here and make it happen, it's a good day.
Yeah. And what I would say, just to add on before we close out, is I know it's hard to question your beliefs, but do it anyway. Do it anyway. And you're only going to become better for it. So I know it's difficult. I know it's like, oh man, you got to accept some lies. But like, what if all of it was a lie that you believe?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. You could burn that down and you could start with the truth and build that up. So I feel like a lot of us I don't care whose side you're on, but just do it. Just do it. Start questioning everything and see what you'll find. You're going to find the truth. And don't be afraid of that. Don't be afraid of that. And it'll help you out in the long run.
Real talk.
To that,
all right.
we out.
We out.
All right.
It's the Unk Phew podcast.